they gave the world cricket, and in return, boos, insults, and a burning desire to beat them. Why does the England cricket team inspire so much dislike around the world? From the long shadow of empire to accusations of arrogance and some of the fiercest rivalries in sport, this is why England has become cricket's ultimate villain. To understand some of the enduring animosity towards the England cricket team, one must first acknowledge the enduring shadow of the British Empire. Cricket was not merely exported to the colonies, it was, for many, an imposition, a cultural artifact of imperial power. As Gideon Hay, a renowned cricket historian, has often articulated in his writings and interviews, the game was very much part of the imperial project, a way of civilizing the natives. This historical context, however distant in time, continues to resonate. That's why, even today, a win over England feels like more than sport. It feels like payback. For nations like India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and the West Indies, who endured colonial rule, a victory against England often carries a weight beyond mere sporting triumph. It can be a symbolic reclaiming of agency, a reversal of historical dominance. This sentiment was palpable particularly with the rise of the West Indies side, whose dominant run from the 1970s to the 1990s was partly fueled by this post-colonial pride. Michael Holding, the legendary West Indian fast bowler, reflected on this in his book, Why We Kneel, How We Rise, published in 2021. He wrote that when they played England, it always meant more than just a match. It was a statement. The very foundations of the game, laid by England, can therefore be seen as a source of underlying resentment for those who recall a less equitable past. Perhaps the most frequently cited reason for dislike, both from opposing teams and neutral observers, is the perception of English arrogance.
How long do you need? An hour? See, I can't say, okay, I don't want to play. Yeah, but then it works. So you get 100, he gets 90, and we have to wait for him.
This isn't a new phenomenon. For decades, through most of the 20th century, there was a widespread belief that the England team, and indeed the English cricket establishment, carried an air of superiority. This was often linked to their perceived role as the custodians of cricket's spirit. However, critics frequently accuse England of hypocrisy when it comes to upholding this spirit. A prime example occurred during the Ashes series in 2019. When Steve Smith returned after being floored by a Jofra Archer bouncer, Lords booed him. Former Australian captain Ian Chappell, never one to mince words, was quoted by the Sydney Morning Herald in August 2019, expressing his disdain. "If that's the spirit of cricket, I don't want any part of it. The English talk about the spirit of cricket, but they're the first ones to violate it." More recently, the Bazball era, while thrilling for its attacking style, has also drawn accusations of smugness. The term itself, derived from coach Brendan McCullum's nickname, suggests a certain self-belief that some find off-putting. Former India captain Sourav Ganguly, speaking to ESPN Crick Info in July 2023, while acknowledging England's exciting play, remarked, "They play very aggressively, and sometimes you can see a bit of overconfidence in their approach." This perceived overconfidence, particularly when met with success, can be interpreted as arrogance by opponents and neutral fans alike. History, arrogance, and now rivalry, all these threads weave into England's complicated image. The Ashes series, contested between England and Australia, stands as arguably the most fiercely contested rivalry in cricket, perhaps in all of sport. This deep-seated animosity is a significant contributor to the dislike directed towards England. The rivalry is steeped in history, memorable moments, and a mutual desire to dominate.
When Vaughan was clean bowled after a brief and uncertain time at the crease, England stood at 18 for 3. Australia had fought back and restored the natural order.
The competitive nature of the Ashes often spills over into personal animosity. In an interview with The Guardian in December 2017, former England captain Alistair Cook described the atmosphere during an Ashes series as brutal. He elaborated, "There's so much emotion, so much history. You're trying to win, and they're trying to win, and sometimes that crosses a line. And this isn't ancient history. Every series adds fresh fuel. This crossing of the line has manifested in numerous heated exchanges, sledging incidents, and outright confrontations." The infamous Johnny Bairstow incident with Australia's Cameron Bancroft in a Perth bar in 2017, though later downplayed, highlighted the underlying tension.
We just won a Shield game for WA. One of our values is celebrate success. So we were as a team and as a group, and at the same time, obviously that coincided with the English team arriving in Perth for the tour game. And it was very, very friendly mingling the whole night. Obviously, some of our players knew some of the English players and things like that. And as the night progressed, it was great to be able to meet some of those guys. And I got into a very amicable conversation with Johnny, and he just greeted me with just a headbutt kind of thing. So
even the most seemingly innocuous actions can be blown out of proportion. During the Ashes series in 2023, England's Stuart Broad drew considerable criticism for his outspoken anger and visible hostility towards the Australian team, particularly after the controversial stumping of Bairstow at Lord's.
It's a very, very strange moment in cricket. Cricket has these ways of showing strange moments. The one thing it has done is ignited the series into absolute chaos. I've never heard Lords so angry. I've never seen the MCC so angry.
You're ever going to be remembered for that? So you'll ever be remembered for that?
Former Australia bowler Mitchell Johnson, writing in his column for the Sydney Morning Herald, stated bluntly, referring to Broad's behaviour, "It just comes across as extremely childish." It's not just the players who draw the ire. English cricket fans themselves often face the brunt of this dislike, particularly when travelling abroad. The stereotype of the loud, boorish, and often inebriated English supporter is a deeply ingrained one in many cricketing nations. While certainly not representative of all England fans, this perception is amplified by the sheer numbers that often travel for major tours. The infamous Barmy Army, a dedicated group of England cricket supporters, while celebrated for their passionate vocal support by their own, can be perceived as irritating and even condescending by opposition fans. One Australian fan summed it up perfectly: "They never stop singing, and it gets under your skin." This goes beyond mere annoyance. In some instances, it can devolve into genuine animosity. The term "pommy bastards," a derogatory slur for Englishmen, is commonly heard in Australia and other former colonies, particularly during sporting contests. While often said in jest within the context of rivalry, it underscores a deeper underlying resentment that can manifest in aggressive fan interactions. The English media, particularly the tabloid press, also plays a significant role in shaping both the perception of the England team and the reactions of fans. The English press can crown heroes and destroy them in the same week. When England lost 4-0 in Australia in 2017, headlines screamed "Ashes humiliation" before the team had even landed home. This type of coverage can be intensely nationalistic, even jingoistic, especially during major series like the Ashes. This can contribute to the us versus them mentality that fuels animosity from opposing nations. Historical parallels can be drawn to the intensely combative headlines seen during the infamous Bodyline series of the 1930s, a rivalry often reignited in the modern press. Conversely, the English media can also be incredibly harsh on their own team when they underperform. This internal criticism, while perhaps seen as holding the team accountable, can also contribute to a sense of entitlement or a lack of humility that then gets projected externally. Furthermore, the emphasis placed on certain players as heroes or villains by the media can create narratives that contribute to external perceptions. Ben Stokes, for example, a player celebrated for his aggressive never-say-die attitude, is adored in England. However, his on-field confrontations and occasionally fiery temperament have also made him a figure of controversy and sometimes dislike among opposing fans. His autobiography, Ben Stokes on Fire, published in 2020, details his own struggles and growth, but the public persona created by the media often dictates how he is perceived by the wider cricketing world. It is important to acknowledge that English cricket, particularly the white ball teams, has undergone a significant transformation in recent years, earning widespread admiration globally. The aggressive, fearless approach adopted by the one-day international and 2020 teams led to World Cup victories in 2019 and 2022, respectively. This dynamic style of play has won new fans and garnered respect for its innovation. Owen Morgan, the architect of the white ball revolution, spoke to BBC Sport after his retirement, stating, "We wanted to change the way England played white ball cricket, to be fearless, to take risks." This philosophy has undoubtedly made England a more exciting team to watch. Similarly, the Test team under the captaincy of Ben Stokes and coach Brendan McCullum has embraced Bazball, a highly attacking and entertaining brand of red ball cricket. This has injected new life into Test cricket and has been widely praised for its entertainment value. Former Australian captain Ricky Ponting, speaking on Sky Sports, acknowledged their approach, stating, "They've certainly made Test cricket exciting again, you can't fault the intent." So even as England reinvent themselves, one question remains: will the world ever forgive them? Despite these exciting changes and the respect earned, deep-seated perceptions are slow to shift. While the current style of play is widely admired, the underlying historical baggage and the occasional perceived arrogance from players or fans can continue to fuel dislike. The evolution of rivalries, such as the growing intensity with India since the rise of the IPL era, and England's creation of formats like the 100, which has drawn some global criticism for its impact on the international calendar, also contribute to the ongoing conversation around the team. For some, the new aggressive approach might even be seen as a new form of pompousness, a feeling that England believes its way is the only way to play. Ultimately, the dislike for the England cricket team is a complex tapestry woven from threads of history, perception, rivalries, media portrayals, and individual actions. While they may be heroes to their own, they often serve as compelling antagonists for many others, enriching the narrative of international cricket with their polarizing presence.